Chosen one, you didn't land here by chance. This moment has your name written all over it. Something in your spirit has been searching, waiting, reaching, and this is your confirmation. You've been feeling the pull, sensing there's more, and guess what? You're absolutely right. There is more. More purpose, more power, more alignment, and it's all opening up for you. This isn't just another message. This is a mirror to remind you who you are, chosen, called, and crafted for something greater than what you've seen. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're right on time for what heaven has set in motion. So take a breath, lean in, and listen closely, because what's coming isn't just for motivation. It's for transformation. Let's step into it. A legacy of renewal often begins where comfort has never lived. What looks like limitation is actually a sacred appointment to architect the kind of future no blueprint in your lineage has yet drawn. Being born into lack isn't misfortune, it's permission to rewrite definitions. The wait isn't punishment, it's preparation. The invisible inheritance of emotional fatigue, unspoken expectations, and silent dreams passed down like worn-out maps was never yours to follow. It was yours to redraw. And so, the ache you carry is not weakness. It's the blueprint of transformation. While others grew where ease was planted, you were carved out of challenge, sculpted by contrast, shaped in the shadows. The discomfort is divine. It chisels vision into your bones, whispers strategies into your stillness, and teaches you to create where nothing ever bloomed. The long nights, the misalignment, the inner war between dreaming and doubting, they are all part of the sacred strategy to shape a forerunner, not a follower. What surrounds you is not your ceiling. It's the raw material from which you are meant to build the bridge no one else dared to imagine. Looking for purpose and peace? Hit subscribe and start the journey. Some are born with an echo inside them that never lets them settle. A pull that doesn't explain itself but insists on forward motion, even when comfort begs them to stay. While others build homes in familiar places, this path carves out those who must travel further, who must release attachments to carry assignments. Not everyone can walk beside what destiny demands. They fall away, not out of rejection, but alignment. The call is not just to rise, but to anchor something lasting. The abundance arriving is not luxury, it is fuel for the mission. What comes to your hands isn't merely gain, it is meant to be multiplied, expanded, planted into futures you may never see but are tasked with shaping. This journey refines character in solitude, instructs leadership in obscurity, and teaches stewardship before spotlight. Legacy isn't built in applause, it's etched into decisions made when no one is watching. The transformation doesn't stop at one life. It opens a door wide enough for generations to walk through. Every lesson, delay, and detour has been constructing a foundation. The impact doesn't end with success. It begins with service. Feel God's love stirring within you. Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you, and let us not grow weary in well-doing. For in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Galatians 6:9, KJV. It's like planting seed in dry soil. At first glance, nothing seems to be happening. No green shoots, no breakthrough, no movement, just dry earth and long days. But the seed doesn't die in the waiting. It matures, buried in stillness, hidden from sight. It grows roots before it ever pushes toward the sun. And just like that seed, you, chosen one, have been growing in places no one can see. God has been doing his deepest work in the silence. While others looked at your life and saw delay, heaven was watching a design unfold, slowly, purposefully, divinely. This journey hasn't been about what you have. It's been about who you're becoming. The setbacks weren't signs of failure. They were the sacred forge of refinement. You've been through seasons where you gave without return, prayed without clarity, served without spotlight. And that wasn't wasted. It was planting. Every act of obedience, every tear you didn't explain, every yes you whispered in the dark built a foundation strong enough to carry what's coming. Some journeys are shaped not by what is gained, but by what is endured in silence. This isn't about wealth first. It's about wisdom. It's about being trusted with more because you've been faithful with little. The waiting season wasn't punishment. It was preservation. God was keeping you, stretching your faith, tuning your spirit, and breaking every false attachment that could have made you mishandle the blessing. Before he fills your hands, he fills your heart. Before he releases overflow, he deepens your roots. See, the battle was never really about numbers or balance sheets. It was about stewardship. It was about learning to hold peace in uncertainty, to hold joy without external confirmation. When the lights were off, when the crowds weren't watching, God was watching you. Watching your consistency, watching your choices, watching the purity of your motive. Heaven does not elevate randomly. It promotes intentionally. And your name has been on the schedule, not the shelf. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. Where others saw shortage, God saw sharpening. The delays you thought were denials were actually divine appointments to purify your intent, to separate dependency from devotion, craving from conviction, to strip away everything that could cloud your clarity. Because you're not just receiving a blessing, you're becoming a blessing. You're not just meant to enjoy what's coming, you're meant to release it, to pour it out, to multiply it, to carry the weight of legacy with clean hands and a steady heart. And that's why the sacrifices mattered. That's why the nights of silence, the private obedience, the invisible endurance were never wasted. Strength isn't built in applause, it's built in restraint. In the moment where you wanted to fight back but chose to hold your peace. Where you could have compromised but chose to stay aligned. When you stopped measuring your worth by what you had and started anchoring your identity in who you are. If your joy is rented from results, then it can be repossessed in a storm. But when it's drawn from the eternal current of purpose, clarity, and divine alignment, then no season, no person, no circumstance can steal it. That kind of strength, real, spiritual muscle, comes only through the process. And you, chosen one, didn't just survive it, you've been forged by it. So now, as the doors begin to open, as favor starts to find you, as provision comes into view, understand this. What's showing up in the natural has already been settled in the spirit. You're not walking into something new, you're walking into something fulfilled. The promises were not delayed, they were maturing with you. And now, provision is catching up to preparation. Growth has redefined what gain means. Once, gain meant what you could hold. Now, it's what no one can take. Struggle gave you strategy. Delay gave you depth. Rejection gave you redirection. And now, the increase ahead is not about image, it's about impact. This is not the kind of overflow that gets spent quickly. It's the kind that builds legacy. This isn't for flaunting, it's for building, for healing, for lifting others out of the very places you once cried from. You're no longer striving, you're stewarding. You don't move for clout, you move with clarity. Every no you heard taught you discernment. Every dry place taught you where to dig. Every pause shaped your posture. You no longer ask, "What can I have?" You ask, "What am I called to carry?" And because of that, you are now entrusted with what others mishandled. This isn't overflow for indulgence. It's flow for legacy. You've graduated from just surviving blessings to sustaining them. What's coming next isn't just an answer to prayer. It's the fruit of a life aligned. It stretches far beyond this moment and leaves evidence that purpose walked through, that you didn't just talk about transformation, you became it. So walk boldly, stand tall. You didn't just go through the fire, you were refined by it. The doors opening now are not accidental. They were etched in eternity. You were never forgotten. You were being formed. And now is the time. Not because it's convenient, not because it's easy, but because you're ready. The harvest isn't coming. It's here. Welcome to your due season. Feel God's love stirring within you. Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. Not every elevation is loud. Some arrive as quiet clarity. Expansion no longer feels like more in your hands, but more in your awareness. This next wave of provision doesn't rush in to decorate your life. It arrives to direct it. It isn't proof of arrival, it's confirmation of alignment. What's coming isn't flashy, it's functional. The increase was never meant to sit still. It's designed to circulate through vision. The trials trained your sight. The waiting matured your pace. Before this release came responsibility, and before responsibility came refinement. That's why it no longer feels like chasing, but flowing. This time, the gain brings structure. It enhances your capacity to uplift, create, and restore, not for applause, but for impact. What you carry now can't be stolen, because it's rooted in revelation. The resources move in step with purpose. They respond to direction, not desire. And the wisdom that walks beside you turns what once felt fragile into something enduring. This isn't about proving what you can gather. It's about becoming someone who channels what multiplies far beyond the moment. The guidance you carry now is your safeguard. It shields you from empty momentum and shallow decisions. Discernment becomes your compass. Stillness becomes your strength. You don't jump at noise. You respond to nudge. What once felt like missed chances now look like mercy in disguise. Detours weren't delays. They were redirections toward deeper truth. Movement no longer depends on pressure, but on peace. What is fleeting doesn't tempt you, because what lasts has your attention. This expansion is not about amassing, it's about stewarding. Every opportunity is filtered through purpose, every step measured in alignment. You've grown past impulse and matured into insight. No longer reactive, you're responsive. No longer striving, you're stewarding. The rhythm you walk in now is not just advancement, it's legacy in motion. You don't just touch increase, you host it. And what flows through you becomes evidence that preparation meets promise. When patience holds the door open long enough, make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. Some are born into patterns not to follow them, but to fracture them. Lineages carry echoes, unfinished stories, recycled wounds, quiet compromises, dressed as tradition. Yet within the same line, a new rhythm can emerge. There comes a person who won't accept silence as peace or routine as truth. One who doesn't mirror the past, but questions it. Who senses that being different is not rebellion, but responsibility. Their presence signals a shift, a rerouting of what seemed inevitable. This isn't about being better than those before. It's about becoming what was missing. That presence rewrites what legacy looks like, not by chance, but by intention. Scarcity gets replaced by structure. Avoidance turns into accountability. Emotional deserts give way to safe connection. What once weighed the family down now meets a force bold enough to lift it. This change doesn't come to impress. It comes to reframe, restore, and rebuild from the ground up, using lived truth as the new foundation. And this kind of shift doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It begins quietly, in the decision to stop carrying bitterness like armor, to love deeper than what was modeled, to pause where reaction once ruled, to grow even when it hurts. Transformation doesn't ask permission. It takes root when one person chooses to become the soil instead of the thorn. Patterns start to crack where forgiveness is planted. Peace starts where old arguments end. The choice to stay open when rejection taught otherwise becomes the blueprint for something new. This change isn't loud, but it is loud in impact. Those around may misread it, resist it, or label it, but none of that weakens its worth. Being chosen doesn't always come with applause. It often walks with solitude. And yet that choice to stay committed, to heal instead of hide, creates momentum no eye may see, but every future will benefit from. The legacy being formed is one that doesn't settle in the now. It stretches forward, rewriting what the next generation expects from life, love, and legacy. The quiet revolutions shape the loudest futures. Momentum doesn't always come with warning. It often arrives swiftly, but only after years of unseen alignment. What feels like an overnight shift is really the harvest of quiet endurance, unseen battles, and countless decisions made in solitude. While others may assume it happened suddenly, you carry the history that says otherwise. This elevation is not for display. It is deeply intentional. Its purpose is structural, not superficial. It doesn't simply decorate your life, it redefines the foundation beneath it. The increase isn't cosmetic, it's catalytic. It touches not only your hands, but your habits. It restructures your rhythm, recalibrates your thinking, and brings harmony where disorder once ruled. What's unfolding now carries weight. It's not a trend, but a transformation. It doesn't seek the spotlight, but it changes everything it touches. This shift positions you not to appear elevated, but to hold elevation with integrity, to be the solution in rooms that once mirrored confusion. What unfolds may feel fast, but it was never random. It's the result of being refined beneath the surface while others moved for recognition. The preparation took place in the background, when no one celebrated your commitment, when every yes cost comfort and every step forward required surrender. You've been tested by scarcity, shaped by stillness, and trusted with silence. So now, you won't just touch abundance, you'll know how to sustain it. The path wasn't quick, it was carved. That's why the results don't flicker, they endure. You didn't race here, you were prepared for it. And what's being built won't collapse under pressure, because it was never driven by applause. It's been tempered, not just touched. This isn't your moment to flash. It's your season to illuminate with consistency. What arrives now isn't meant to stop with one person. It carries ripple effect, moving through your life into the lives assigned to your purpose. This blessing has direction. It knows its destination, and you're the vessel it flows through. Don't dim when opportunity finds you. Don't retreat when doors swing wide. Stand in the shift with strength and stewardship. This is more than favor, it's function. Not just your reward, but your responsibility. You weren't given this to hoard, but to host, to extend it into spaces still waiting for light. This isn't a fleeting win. It's a generational wave. And this time, it doesn't pass by. It stays. Some inherit legacy, others are called to originate it. The measure of true wealth isn't tallied in digits, but traced through inner transformation, through choices made when no one applauds, through a mind trained to break patterns instead of repeating them. Real inheritance begins in the unseen. It takes root in moments of restraint, in shifting the internal compass from fear to vision, from reaction to revelation. What's being passed forward is not just access, but awakening. A new path is being drawn, not paved with possessions, but with presence, wisdom, and spiritual maturity. Long before prosperity touches anything material, it reshapes the soul. It rewrites responses. It redefines love. It teaches that abundance isn't a destination. It's the natural fruit of alignment. It's not the numbers that multiply first, but the clarity, peace, and purpose that flow from the core. What's being prepared is not only tangible, it is transformational. And what was once labeled normal, chaos, instability, scarcity, gets dismantled by someone willing to be the interruption. Where wounds once echoed loudest, now healing speaks. Where confusion lived, new rhythms take root, of understanding, of harmony, of sacred discipline. This new foundation isn't built with noise, but decisions. To stay when escape is easy, to forgive instead of repeat, to grow instead of perform. You don't just provide shelter, you build shelter into the spirit of those after you. You don't just pass down tools, you pass down truth. What rises in the future does so because you chose to break where others avoided. Because of that, wholeness becomes the norm. In you, a new language is spoken, one of clarity, compassion, and conviction. This is inheritance redefined. This is wealth reborn through insight, integrity, and inner authority. What once felt impossible now becomes instinctive because someone dared to create what they never received. There are seasons where blessings arrive not for applause, but for assignment. Some are positioned not just to receive, but to redirect. The breakthrough isn't a finish line, it's a launch pad. This isn't about living more comfortably, but leading more courageously. The doors opening are not coincidence. They are confirmation that the burden you carried was never in vain. You've been carved out, not cast aside. Equipped not for ease, but for impact. What you carry now shifts not only your life, but the systems, families, and futures connected to your decisions. It's not status, it's stewardship. It's not attention, it's accountability. The influence is purposeful, the access strategic. Your discipline becomes deliverance for someone else. Your faith creates shelter they didn't know they needed. This is the ripple effect of spiritual maturity. The ones who come after don't inherit the battle. You fought it already. They inherit the freedom and the weight of what you're entrusted with now. It confirms this wasn't about you alone. It was always about the multitudes your obedience would one day unlock. Feel God's love stirring within you. Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. Some are not called to follow the path. They're called to stretch it. Their very existence is an invitation to go beyond the boundaries that limited those before them. They're not content with imitation. They are compelled to originate. They dream where others have settled, invest where nothing has been planted, and speak where silence became tradition. The weight they carry isn't fame, it's responsibility. The process has been quiet, filled with moments when no applause came, when the only witness to their obedience was the one who sent the assignment. Still, they remained faithful. They gave when it was costly. They trusted when the vision had no outline. They stood, not because it was easy, but because it was eternal. Now, they move with purpose, not pressure. Not every open door deserves their walk. Not every shiny opportunity reflects their calling. Their compass isn't popularity, it's alignment. They walk as someone entrusted with more than influence. They carry consequence. Their posture speaks louder than performance. Their life shifts spaces, not through volume, but through vibration. And when the old tries to pull them back, they no longer shrink to fit. They expand to lead. The true mantle is not about platform, it's about presence. It isn't wrapped in ego, it's anchored in surrender. This next chapter isn't applause-worthy because it's loud, it's sacred because it's weighty. The same force that preserved them in obscurity now launches them in clarity. The quiet strength built in isolation becomes the voice of transformation in public. This isn't the climax, it's the unfolding. They're not chasing moments, they're building legacies. What's planted now will outlive trends, outlast titles, and overflow far beyond their timeline. It's never been about making a name, but making a mark. Every action now echoes with reverence. Every move is intentional. Every word is seeded with care. Because what they've been given is not for temporary gain, but for generational awakening. They carry what must be protected, what must be honored, and what must be multiplied. They don't just hold opportunity, they hold blueprints. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. The closing isn't an ending, it's a release. The impact will stretch long past the visible. They don't just rise, they activate. What flows through them flows forward. The expansion is sealed, not by ambition, but by readiness. And the proof isn't in what they own, but in what they steward. This is not a call to comfort, but to continuity. The doors opening now have legacy written into their frame. And what's been set in motion is irreversible. Stay steady, stay intentional, stay anchored. It's already been written. All that's left is to walk it out.